Let's take a look at Purplesoft CRM features with a few real-world examples. And one thing we're going to see is how much more than just the relationship with customers we're dealing with. It also covers prospects, vendors, you name it, any kind of relation. I'm going to start by checking out my calendar to see what I'm doing today. And if I drill into today's records, I can see that I actually have a meeting to take care of. From the activity, I can actually go and open the business communicator, and if I have a connected switchboard, I can highlight the number and make the call. When you make a call from a connected switchboard and the call gets through, Purplesoft automatically opens an activity with the details of the customer picked up from where you opened up the call. And you just need to record a few additional details, and then you can go ahead and record, in this case, that we've confirmed the meeting. So we have the log on file of exactly what has happened. Next, we go back to the business communicator to check out the details of where to go. Clicking on the map button shows you a Google map or a Bing map of the location of your meeting. And of course, all the usual features of Google Maps, such as directions, can then apply. Plus, this is something that can be opened on a mobile device. When I'm ready to take the meeting with Morris Melodies, I will probably look up what I consider to be the most useful report in Purplesoft. This is, if you like, a text-based dashboard which brings together everything that we've done with this particular contact. So I can see all their contact details and important top-level information like how much business they've placed, who the contacts are, but more particularly, for example, I've got a complete record of all the CRM activity. And if I wanted to see emails, whether inbound or outbound, I can drill into an activity that got created or even the actual source email. In this case, an outbound email quoting some business to the customer. The same is true of all the other CRM activities. So I could equally look up calls that have been made and the notes that were taken from those telephone calls. Plus, I can see simple statistics like number of calls, which might be split between inbound and outbound. I can instantly see whether they are up to date with their receivables. I can see that in this case they're not up to date. I can drill into the open invoices and check the detail of any of the invoices. I can see monthly figures on the turnover from this customer and also the breakdown in the last 12 months of what they've actually bought. I can go right into quotations, so I can actually drill into each of these records and find out both the detail on the quotations, but also from the dashboard, I can see whether the quotations are still open, won, or rejected. And the same is true of the order status. So I can see whether orders have shipped, whether they're delayed, whether they have shipped but haven't been invoiced. And I can drill into the source records. And if necessary, with all of this, I can find anything else that's attached. So for example, in this case, there is a contract associated with this order, and I might want to review the terms of this contract, so I can open up the associated file, and in this case it will kick open a Word document. So as I said, this dashboard brings together everything that we've done with this customer or prospect. I can see maintenance contracts, I can see projects for implementations, I can go right into a budget for a project, and I can even see the training courses that they've participated in. One of the big points to understand with Purplesoft is the extent to which the CRM is automated. You don't need to touch a lot of this. So for example, I'm ready to confirm this invoice, and on confirmation of an invoice, I've automatically got a rule that has created this activity which is chasing the invoice. That will appear in my to-do list just as it can appear directly from the invoice. When I actually phone the customer and chase, and they tell me the usual, which is that the check's in the mail, simply saving this activity records automatically another activity which is, has the check been received? And it's been pushed forward a few days from now. We set the rules as to how far in the future this has been set. You can configure these rules so that it happens automatically on whatever periodicity you like. It can copy all the attached files that you like, and you can even delegate or promote an activity to other people as part of the automated rules. Purplesoft provides extremely rich opportunities for classifying your data. Take, for example, the contact. Here we can see that this contact has been classified in two ways. This is a multi-value field, and in this particular instance, the customer is in Colorado and in the southwest of the US. But simply by putting in a comma, I can then go ahead and add yet further categories, and it's pretty much unlimited how many I can actually put on. This might be one created on the fly, or I might simply add one that exists already. In this case, the fact that this customer is a wholesaler. As soon as you've classified a contact in this way, in real time, that is now available in all the reporting. So for example, if I want to see the customer statistics, which is the value of business placed, and I'll actually kick this across a huge range of dates, but I simply want to do this for the wholesalers, then when I run the report, you'll see there's only one wholesaler, and that is Morris Melodies. And this particular report shows me what was actually purchased. All of the reporting gives this kind of slicing and dicing capability. But it's actually more extensive than that, because this feeds into campaign management. If I go into the CRM module and create a customer campaign, we can create the record, specify that we're sending this to a number of people, and then I want to say that this is, for example, going to wholesalers, and this is maybe a special promotion. You can then go ahead and add standard text that you've prepared earlier, or you can create the template on the fly. I'm going to bring in one that I prepared earlier, and that brings in, with apologies to Groupon, whatever template you've designed. So it can be a very extensive template. It is HTML, so you can make it as beautiful as you like. Once you're satisfied with your email campaign, you want to check who this is actually going to. If we scroll down, we can see that this is going to the two contacts at Morris Melodies, Amy and Jack. The only contact at Morris Melodies that has so far been labelled as a wholesaler. The real power of this system comes from the fact that everything is interconnected. So we can see this in action with a fantastic routine called Add Classification to Customers. And what this does is we can say, I am interested in saying anybody who has actually bought a particular product from us must as a result be, a wholesaler. So I'm going to mark them as a wholesaler. But I'm going to get clever. I'm going to say everybody who has not bought this product from us, so that we get more people actually labelled. And if we let that run for a moment and go back to our campaign and run the letter list and scroll down, you'll see there are now 15 companies that are actually retailers. And this is something that we can manage dynamically. If I want to go into best event, I can take them out of being a wholesaler and then recalculate the letter list so that we can see there are only 14 people who will receive this campaign. One other point, if we go back to the routine itself, it's not just about who has been billed, it's also who's under contract for a maintenance agreement, for example, or similar repetitive billing agreement, who's been quoted or not quoted, and also activities, so who has attended a trade show or not. And you can, with tailoring, extend these to just about any combination of pieces of information you like. So it's a classic. If you liked this, then you'll probably like this secondary promotion. Next, let's take a quick look at pipeline management, known as workflow overview in the software. So this gives me a view of my user configured pipeline. So I determine the steps in the pipeline process, and then those appear in here. So currently what we're looking at are not just the leads, prospects, and quotes in their separate categories and by value, but also these little squares give me immediate visual feedback on whether I'm due or overdue or not yet due to chase the opportunity. So red is late, green is on time, yellow means I need more information in order to make a judgment. So in all cases, I can click on a record to go, for example, directly into an activity, or maybe I want to go into an actual quotation because we got further in the sales process. And in each case, I can also pick up these entries and drag and drop them between columns to dynamically maintain the workflow. The final point I want to address is that the business intelligence that exists for directly for Purplesoft applies equally to CRM as to any other part of the system. And so I can, for example, click on a link already directly in the software, which opens up a series of dashboards which are user configured within the BI. And they might include things like the number of activities or the length of activities within the activities that we recorded. Also salesperson's efficiencies, and further down we've got a list of activities, so the count. So these might be the calls themselves, or it may be broken down by salesperson, by activity type. So you can get measures on everything that we've been looking at so far, whether it's number of calls or length of calls or the sales values or quote values. It's all possible to create these kind of dashboards. If you have any further questions on the CRM for Purplesoft or any other aspect of Purplesoft, please feel free to get in touch.